To solve question 3 of 2025 K Pure Math Unit 1. First part says a circle has center 1, 3 and passes through the point 3, 7, and we're asked to find the equation of the circle. The first thing you need to do is you need to recall what the form of the equation of a circle is. So that looks like this. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, where h and k, it's the center of the circle, and then r is the radius. So here, they set the center as 1, 3. So I can just put that in for my center. So I got x minus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to r squared. Now how do I find r squared? Well, I know the circle passes through 3, 7. So if I put x equal 3 and y equals 7, the equation holds. So then that means 3 minus 1 squared plus, in brackets, 7 minus 3 squared is equal to r squared. 3 minus 1 is 2, so this is 2 squared. And then 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 squared is equal to r squared. And then that means, that means 4 plus 16 is equal to r squared. So r squared is equal to 20. So the last thing is therefore the equation of the circle is just going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 20. Because instead of r squared, I could just put 20. Okay. Part 2 now says, show that the equation of the tangent to the circle at the point A is given by 2x plus 2y plus x minus 17 is equal to 0. So what you have to do for this, you have to remember how to find the equation of the tangent to a circle. The first thing that you need to do is you need to find the gradient of the normal. And the important fact to remember for a circle is that the normal will also pass through the center of the circle. So the normal passes through the point itself, which is 3, 7, and then the center, which is 1, 3. So therefore, the gradient of the normal will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And here I can do, okay, 7 minus 3, y2 is 7, y minus 3 over 3 minus 1, x2 minus x1. That's just 4 over 2, which is 2. So the gradient of the normal is 2, but then the gradient of the tangent will just be minus 1 over that. So then the gradient of the tangent is m is equal to minus 1 over 2. And then the tangent passes through the point 3, 7. So what I have to do now is I have to, well, just find the equation of the line using these two pieces of information. You could do y equal mx plus c if you want. I'll just do y minus y1 equal m times x minus x1. So that's going to be y minus 7 equals minus a half times x minus 3. And now I'm just going to rearrange the equation. So multiply by 2. 2y minus 14 is equal to minus x plus 3. And then if I bring the x on this side, 2y plus x, and then minus 14, and then minus 3 is equal to 0, or 2y plus x minus 17 is equal to 0, which is exactly what they wanted you to show. So I mean, that tells you that the answer is probably correct. Keep in mind, when they give you something like this, where they tell you, show the answer is something, and you get that the answer is that thing, it probably means that you did the working correct. So you don't really need to check over that, or at least if you're going to check it over last over other things. Because remember, this is a very time pressured exam. So it's much better if you know you got the right answer. There's a high chance that you did the working right, and your time is better spent elsewhere, just making sure that you didn't make mistakes elsewhere. Okay, next part. Determine the point of intersection of the parabola x squared minus 3x minus 5 minus y equals 0 and the line 2x plus y plus 3 equals 0. This is a simultaneous equation. So let's write it out. X squared minus 3x minus 5 minus y equals 0. It's equation 1, and then equation 2 is 2x plus y plus 3 equals 0. That's equation 2. Now, there are many, many ways you could solve this, but I think the most easy way is usually when you have a line, which is like the second one is a line, and they said it's a line. You could use that to eliminate one of the variables. So from 2, what you could say is, oh, y is equal to minus 2x minus 3. Let's call this 3, and now let's substitute 3 into 1. So then that's x squared minus 3x minus 5 minus, and now y is minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. So then x squared minus 3x minus 5 minus distributes now, so it'll be plus 2x and then plus 3 equals 0. And now let's collect the like terms. So the x will be minus 1x, and then the constant term will just be minus 2. Minus 2 equals 0. Now you have to solve this quadratic. Many ways you could do this. You could even use a calculator if you want. But how I'll do this, I'll just factorize. If you factorize this, so you have to find two numbers that multiply to give minus 2, the constant term, and then add up to give minus 1, which is the coefficient in front of x, basically. So the way that you do that is, well, it'll just be minus 2 and 1. So what you get is x squared plus x now minus 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. I just do that, and now I factor each term, so x times x plus 1, and then minus 2 times x plus 1 equals 0, and then if I factor these together, x minus 2 times x plus 1 equals 0, so then x is equal to 2, x is equal to minus 1, and then the last thing is, remember, y, equation 3 says that y is minus 2x minus 3. So then if x is 2, y would be minus 2 times 2 minus 3, which is minus 4 minus 3, which is minus 7. And then here y would be minus 2 times minus 1 minus 3, which is now just 2 minus 3, which is minus 1. So the solutions are x equal 2, y equal minus 7, that's one solution, and x equal minus 1, y equal minus 1. That's how you solve the simultaneous. Again, just one thing that helps with simultaneous is if you have a line, you could try elimination using that line to eliminate things. Okay, perfect. Last question for question 3 is the vectors question. So it says two vectors are given as OA equals this and OB equals this. So these are 3D vectors. You see how there are 3 numbers for each vector. And they ask you to find the magnitude of AB first. So first what we have to do is we have to actually find the vector AB. So remember, AB, this is a formula you need to know, is equal to OB minus OA. Now OB is 2, 0, 5, and then minus 1, 1, and 3. When you subtract two vectors, what you have to do is subtract the x's, subtract the y's, and subtract the z's. And the x means the first row, y is the second row, and then z is the third row. So for example, here 2 minus minus 1 is 3. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. And then 5 minus 3 is 2. That's how you subtract vectors. And then the last thing is they didn't just want AB, they wanted the magnitude of AB. Now to find the magnitude of a vector, what you have to do is you have to take the square root of the x squared plus the y squared plus the z squared. So here the x squared is 3 squared, and then the y squared is minus 1 squared, and then the z squared is 2 squared. So then it's just the square root of 9 plus 1 plus 4, which is the square root of 14. That's the magnitude of AB. Okay, and then the last thing now is they ask you to find the angle between these two vectors. The first thing you need to remember is how do you find the angle? Well, cosine theta is the dot product of the vectors. So it'll be OA dot product OB, and then over the magnitude of OA times the magnitude of OB. Okay, now let's just write what OA and OB are, and then we'll figure out how to do all of these. So OA is minus 113 dot product with 205 over, and now we could just find the magnitude. The magnitude is the square root, again, is the x squared plus the x squared plus the y squared plus the z squared. Square root of minus 1 squared plus 1 squared plus 3 squared is the magnitude of OA, and then times the square root of 2 squared plus 0 squared plus 5 squared. Okay, and now to find the dot product, or the numerator of this thing, what you have to do is multiply the x's, multiply the y's, multiply the z's, and then add them together. So it'll be minus 1 times 2, that's the x's multiplied, and then the y's multiplied will be 1 by 0, and then the z's multiplied will be 3 by 5. And then if I simplify the denominator, like it'll be 3 squared is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11, square root of 11, and then 2 squared is 4, plus 0 is 4, and then plus 5 squared is 25. So then 4 plus 25 is 29. Now you can do all this in a calculator if you're not exactly sure, but you could also do it in your head, if whichever you prefer. And then, okay, and the numerator now is going to be minus 2, and then this term is 0, and then plus 15, so that's just 13. So then you know what cosine theta is, so to find theta, you just do cos inverse of this. So theta is cos inverse 13 over square root 11 times square root 29, which is equal to 43.2 degrees. Or you can put it in radians. Just make sure that you make the unit clear.